Hello, this is Brian. Today is Wednesday, February 15th, 2023, and I'm here in Navajo Canyon Open Space Park here in the Allied Gardens neighborhood of San Diego. And it's time for a spotlight on shrubs. Today's spotlight focuses on one of our really neat wildflowers that we find here. And here it is. Fuschia Flowered Gooseberry, Ribes speciosum. So Ribes speciosum is a drought-deciduous. In other words, it loses its leaves during the summer dry period, and it's a member of the gooseberry / currant family, the Grossulariaceae. So what we have is usually a small to medium-sized, very spiny shrub. So if you're checking out the plant, be careful. It's very spiny. As you can see here, it's got 3 very large spines on each node of the twig. In other words, where the leaves come out of. So it's got 3 spines. This is an old dead twig here. And it's got a lot of sharp, finer spines all growing along the twig. So be careful what you grab at. So maybe give it an extra inch or two of birth. But what you have here is during the rainy season, they have these rich, shiny green, slightly lobed leaves, as you see here. And again, it's a kind of a smaller, medium, sometimes medium-sized shrub. Again. So we're talking about the common name being Fuschia Flowered Gooseberry. Why is it? Well, it's pretty evident. The name is self-evident. It's got fuchsia-like flowers. So here we go. These flowers here got the anthers sticking out, and you get these really small reddish petals on the towards the base of the flower. And the flowers are basically all red until you get to where the pollen is at the end there. So that's what the flowers look like. I'm going to go to a few other specimens that are along here, because there are a few specimens along here. Hopefully get a little bit closer, I can show you some more of the salient features of Ribes speciosum. But it is a shrub that can be locally occasional to locally common, and is found on shadier slopes, mostly in the understory of chaparral, sometimes sumac toyon scrub, sometimes out in the open in coastal sage scrub, and even in woodland. I know there's some more around here, so bear with me. In fact, I'll when I come up to the next one, I'll pick it up where I left off. So here we are, right by really good specimen, so you can get to see a lot of the different features of this plant. The only thing is it's a little early to show you what the fruit looks like. The fruit is different. That's a different feature that I don't have access to right now because it's a little early. So again, shiny green leaves that are kind of scalloped on the edge or sometimes slightly lobed. Pretty typical in your genus Ribes, R-I-B-E-S, with a shiny green overside and a paler green underside. Leaves are basically hairless, so they're glabrous. That's another term for hairless. And then they form these kind of small thickets of anywhere from 2 feet up to maybe about 6 feet. This one's a pretty tall one. This one's probably about 7 feet tall. Usually they're quite short. And then again, very spiny twigs that lead down to this pretty nice looking mottled gray bark. And we're going to go down towards the bottom of the shrub here. Again, being a shrub, multi-stem thicket here. Beautiful gray bark with these little horizontal lines, little horizontal corky lines. Those little horizontal lines are called lenticels. I guess you can find those quite a bit in Grossulariaceae. And a lot of these here are the same thing. Fuschia Flowered Gooseberry. There's actually a little bit of a population of it here. So a lot of times you'll find them on north-facing slopes, sometimes in canyon bottoms, edge of thick coastal sage scrub, chaparral, oak woodland, sometimes as an understory plant. And we get some more looks at these flowers as they're now basically entering their full bloom. As you can see, the flowers are kind of tubular shaped again. You can see their petals. Their petals are right here. Their petals are kind of hairy too. They got like little bits of hairs on them. And they're going to develop into these oval-shaped spiny fruits, which are called gooseberries. Edibility for Rebe speciosum, I don't know. I'm not sure if they really are edible. As some gooseberries and currant bushes. Currants and gooseberries are both Rebes, the genus Rebes, and they're both closely related. And some of them are edible, some of them are probably not that good to eat, but these ones would be very spiny, very spiny. As you can see here, the ovary is starting to swell on this one here. I gotta be careful with my finger. You see here the ovary starting to swell, and it's going to turn into a round, kind of football-shaped, spiny fruit. That'll be kind of reddish when it's ripe. So the habitat, I've already mentioned about the habitat, but another addition to that is where you're going to find these plants. Besides in shady north-facing slopes, woodlands, and sage scrub, you're going to find them mostly in areas that have an oceanic weather influence. For instance, mostly coast to coastal foothills of San Diego, Orange County, LA County, and portions of Riverside County that have a lot more easy access to the marine layer presence, the onshore flow. Like you might find it in a few spots in Riverside County that have access to oceanic air, like around the city of Corona, some of the foothills of the Santa Ana Mountains. But mostly San Diego, Orange, LA, and there might be some other spots where you can find this, and I will add them onto the text. But definitely a plant that does not like the really cold interior, not very, very hardy at all to really cold winter areas, as this plant seems to be a little more, let's say a little more tender towards the extremely cold nights of the interior. So that's why you're going to find it in areas that are moderated by the influence of the ocean. So it doesn't like the extremely cold, and it doesn't like the extremely hot. I apologize if there was a little bit of a glitch there, but my previous card that I used on a hike earlier today ran out of memory, so I had to transition over to this, right in the middle of a sentence, as usual. But yes, so areas that are moderated by the effects of the ocean air, where you're going to find this plant. So San Diego, the city of San Diego where I am, is a very good place. Mission Trails Regional Park's a good place to see this. Coastal canyons are a really good place, especially ones that have really good north-facing slopes like this. Really good places to find this plant. A lot of times, again, it's an understory species. So there you have it. Beautiful Rebe speciosum. Now what I want to do is talk a little bit about the name. So the genus Ribes is the Latin genus name, I believe it's Latin, for the gooseberries and currants. The name speciosum is quite a descriptive epithet. So what speciosum means in Latin is showy, elegant, beautiful, extravagant, very noteworthy. And the presence of these really cool fuchsia-looking flowers, and they do look like fuchsia flowers from your ornamental garden fuchsia plants. They really do. So speciosum is a very descriptive epithet for this plant. So again, we're talking about elevation-wise. You're probably going to find this mostly below 2,000 feet in elevation. Again, the higher up you go, the less marine air can penetrate, because once you get above the marine inversion, it's a little bit different higher up. So again, coastal influence, red tubular shaped flowers that are quite attractive to hummingbirds. Hummingbirds can get their beaks inside of these flowers. So I've seen it, and this will, if you were to grow this at home, and I would think that this is a fairly decently easy plant to grow at home as long as you don't overwater it. But make sure you keep it, see if you can keep it in a less exposed area. You will attract hummingbirds to your garden. Ribes speciosum, the beautiful fuchsia flowered gooseberry. Been wanting to do this spotlight for a long time. Now I'm finally in an area where I can get quite easy access to this plant. So it was about time that I did a spotlight video on this beautiful shrub here. Again, summer or drought deciduous. So you come here in June or July, the leaves will start turning red. The leaves will actually start turning red and orange like fall color, only it'll do it in the middle of late spring and early summer when the soil's dried out, as these plants are not extremely deeply rooted. And then a lot of times the leaves will turn red. Kind of a festive display, almost like a fall color display, only during the late spring and early summer months. So the leaves kind of turn red and fall off, and they're leafless during the summer and fall months. Only leaf out again when the rains start in late fall and winter. So there you have it. Ribes speciosum, Fuschia Flowered Gooseberry, here from Navajo Canyon in San Diego. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next spotlight video coming soon.